So yes, as you can see from the title of the video, things are pretty serious right now for Diablo 4. Hold on, so you're telling me he's going to do a video without the intro? This must be serious. He is, and don't call him serious. Why'd you have a mustache? Shh, it's supposed to be a secret. It's for the mustache expansion. So yeah, this video is going to be a little bit more different in terms of what I usually upload. Normally I have a little bit of structure behind it. This one, I'm actually going to be expressing my thoughts and opinions of the current state of Diablo 4 with Season 3 and a lot of players not enjoying the content as much compared to Season 2, but also with the recent news about the Gauntlet leaderboard system, which was a main feature coming into Season 3. And although we never actually had like a set date of when it was going to be released, even at BlizzCon last year, they never gave us an official date. But with a recent podcast with Rod Ferguson on the Xbox YouTube channel, they actually gave us a teaser of that release date, which was for February 13th. Not too long ago, a couple of days ago, we received a tweet out from Rod Ferguson saying, "Great seeing the excitement about the Gauntlet and leaderboards. We're still on track for Season 3, but decided to take a little bit more time to polish a few things up. So it won't be launching on February 13th, as I mentioned on a recent podcast. We'll share more details on the new date soon." And although in the tweet they never actually gave us a specific reason as to why it has been delayed, more or less just working on it to make sure it's right and ready, some people have been theorizing that it could be linked to the recent layoff Microsoft did with the 1,900 Activision Blizzard employees. And to which the Diablo fans and community expressed their concerns, frustrations with the current state of Diablo 4, as well as its future too, especially when we have two ARPGs along the way later this year, with The Last Epoch out in February, and later this year, Path of Exiles 2. And now I'm actually going to go over my current thoughts of the state of Diablo 4, but also my personal experience. Me personally, upon release day, I absolutely loved the game. It was a really enjoyable experience in terms of the campaign, the feel of the classes, the visuals, everything like that. I really did enjoy it, and I'm still very passionate about the game. When we had Season 1, we had the introduction to the Malignant Heart, which was a really cool mechanic they placed into the game, where you place the gems inside of the jewelry, which gave you some powers, and it made our classes feel even stronger. But then they came in with a massive nerf patch. They basically took the fun out of what was being introduced with the season, so they actually had to come in with a emergency patch note update to rebuff a lot of the classes to try and restore the damage that they applied. And then we come around to Season 2, and although the start was a little bit rocky with delays and a lot of players frustrated on that release, especially after Season 1, so again starting not off too great, but once we actually got into Season 2, it was a lot of fun. The whole vampiric system power was so much better than just farming your Malignant Hearts, leveling them up, trying different builds with it as well. And then they also introduced some more endgame content, so we had the endgame bosses such as Vashan, Duriel for those unique farming or uber uniques as well. And then we had the Blood Harvest introduced, which was a new zone form of farming those potent bloods to level up your vampiric powers, so that was something else to do. Improvements to other aspects such as the Tree of Whispers, and then in addition, later down the line, they introduced the Abattoir of Zir. Even though the Abattoir of Zir was somewhat of a reflavor of Nightmare Dungeons, they gave us a new glyph known as the Tears of Blood, where we could level that up. But at the start of release, again, player feedback wasn't all too well received in terms of getting that leveled up. It was quite the grind. And also to mention the actual difficulty ramp on those first couple of levels, a lot of the players couldn't really enjoy it because they were ending up being one-shotted. It almost was like you had to have these specific items to actually even start trying out the Abattoir of Zir, so it was almost locking people out of the content. But overall, people really enjoyed Season 2. A lot of the quality of life changes made it more convenient and enjoyable. Builds felt strong and fun. The content that was there for endgame was there. There was plenty of things to do in Season 2, and the player base was saying this was what Diablo 4 should have been on the release day, but it's a shame this happened almost over 6 months ago from its release. In fact, players that started in Diablo 4 may have already stopped playing altogether. They never actually got to enjoy the content that was essentially good, which now actually brings us on to Season 3, which is currently, I nearly dropped my drink. We're good. But anyway, back to Season 3 and my opinion on it. I was disappointed. Again, it's in a much better place now, but when it first came out with the Seneschal, I really didn't like the idea of it. Me personally, your character is meant to be the one feeling powerful, slaying demons and these great demonic bosses and that, But this time around, you have a little assistant pet that's giving you all these little support buffs and that. It just didn't feel right to me personally. What I would have thought was a good idea was that actual spiderling was something that would attach onto your back, something that became a part of you rather than something detached. This creature could basically change the visuals of your abilities. You could add some quirky gimmicks like increase the size of your character or even decrease. You could transform into this whole robotic, sentient, not too sure, but again, there were different options you could have done with it. You could have even applied some customization to it, give a player reason to try these other bits of content out, and with it, you get this cool little transmog reward for the back piece. It gives you more content and cosmetics within the game. And in terms of how much that would have required in terms of work demand, I do not know. But I feel like that could have been something that was a lot better in terms of an option or the whole seasonal mechanic. And then when it came to the actual vaults in Season 3 as well, they worked very similar to how Nightmare Dungeons worked. Point A, point B, complete the last room, gain the rewards. But with this one, you had the trap rooms. And if you had stacks of Zoltan's warding, which then allowed you to gain more rewards at the end, you basically didn't want to get hit by these traps, and it would really slow down the pacing. And that's something that this game is not designed around. It's not meant to be designed around taking your time, being very slow. But also when it came to builds as well, such as Barbarian, you were punished even more with skills that you took, because some of them would lock onto the enemies and push you into the traps, meaning you would lose these stacks. But luckily they did come in with an emergency hotfix with some changes to the Seneschal, improving its powers, and definitely a lot more enjoyable, but also the vaults as well, giving you a lot more stacks, meaning you could actually just progress through the dungeons. And I personally felt I was dodging the traps more because I didn't feel as pressured in losing my stacks. So overall, I've actually enjoyed the vaults so much more because of those changes. And then to my final point of Season 3, which is actually the leaderboard gauntlet system with the delays on top. This is a main feature that they were pretty much promoting a lot as being part of Season 3, and for it to be delayed with no set date in mind of when it's going to come out was quite frustrating and off-putting about the season overall. But in addition, in terms of actually releasing it, I personally feel this should have been something ready for Season 3 to really draw in the player base, because myself and obviously many other players like to have that competitive edge in terms of world first on the leaderboards. I did it back in Diablo 3, I think it was Season 2 or 3, where I actually ended up as, I think it was 6th place on the Witch Doctor leaderboard, and that was something that was actually a lot of fun and excitement to do. So the fact that they didn't actually involve that was definitely a missed opportunity to draw in new or current players back into the season. I feel as though they're going to be introducing the Gauntlet leaderboard system in its next big patch during Season 3. This is where classes are going to receive those large buffs. They can also see where classes are underperforming to really buff them up and potentially provide some variety to those leaderboard scores, but which some content creators say they should actually scrap the leaderboard system and introduce it to when Season 4 comes out. This is where the whole itemization changes are going to be implemented as well. Basically scrap, take Season 3 as a loss and completely invest into Season 4. But I do recommend trying out Season 3 for yourself and seeing how you feel. This is just my opinion. What I say is not 100%. Cuppa's word is true. Try it out for yourself, see how you feel, and if you're feeling the same as well, maybe wait until Season 4 or when they release the leaderboards and give it a try then. But that pretty much covers everything that I want to talk about with the recent news to the delays. This is a video that I don't normally do. I normally, like I said, have a bit more structure behind it. I never really have a video where I'm just chatting away with my current opinions and that about the state of the game. But how I want to summarize this video is just looking at it in terms of the Expanse since release. It seems as though they come up with ideas, they produce it forward, it builds up this hype, and then when it comes to actually the delivery, that's where it unfortunately doesn't perform to the standard that it should be and what everyone hopes it to be. And that links up to my other point as well. It's only so much we can keep hoping for these improvements or deliveries. It's at that point now where the developers really need to prove that the game is going to get better, and these ideas that they want to implement will be there and hopefully on time as well. But we'll definitely find out all for the future. I am looking forward to the leaderboard and gauntlets and will be trying it out once it does release. But until then, don't forget to drop a like on this video, comment if you did enjoy it, and let me know what I can do to improve it. But until then, I will see you in the next video, goblins. Take care.